Hi everyone, welcome. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone's having a good day. This is our second general body meeting. My name is Byron Merlos, and I will be presenting with Eric Perez today.
Okay, so I'm Eric. I'm the director of middle school outreach, and I'm also in my last semester at Cal State Long Beach, majoring in electrical engineering. And a little bit about me is that I like anime a lot, music, and I recently picked up jujitsu. So I'm actually going to go to jujitsu in like an hour. So it's pretty cool.
Hi everyone, my name is Byron Merlos, as I said before. I'm the director of high school outreach. I'm in my 4.5 year. I don't know. I just say 5th year at this point. It's my last semester here as well. I'm a chemical engineering major. I have a field of interest slash emphasis of renewable slash green energy. Some of my hobbies include playing music, video games, watching anime, and hanging out with my friends. I'm also a part of the school's lacrosse team, so I showed that as well. And one of my favorite animes, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, not the other one. I just have to make sure you guys know it's Brotherhood. Okay. So these are the announcements for the week. So Maya's is going to have a career fair and workshops coming up soon. September 30th, which is tomorrow, and October 1st, which is the day after tomorrow, I think. Right? Yeah. Anyways, so the companies that are going to attend are Microsoft 365, Aruba, San Diego Gas and Electric, Naviar, and the CIA. Why attend? This is direct contact to hiring recruiters. It is targeting specifically Maya's students slash club members as well, and see if you can try to land an interview with these people. It's a good opportunity for everyone. I strongly suggest you attend.
Yes, and another reminder for the Boeing Resource Group webinar series that we have. So we have one coming up tomorrow, and that one's going to cover workforce hardships. So it's just going to go over how the Boeing employees overcame COVID because they were hit pretty hard. So the meeting link is right there. And if you have any questions, you guys could always contact us. And for fall outreach, we do have 2 outreach events planned. So with Burke Middle School, we're planning to do a presentation with RMC and also at Sussman Middle School outreach, and that one's on November 17th. So for Vex Robotics, they're actually asking if anyone is interested in being a lead referee. So the competition dates are going to be the 23rd, November 20th, December 11th, and January 29th. So if you're available all days and if you're interested in robotics, you could always contact me or info@csulbmyes.org.
So this Friday, we're having a social from 7 to 10 p.m. at Bolsa Chica State Beach. The clubs that are attending are Maya's and Ship as well. It is a $20 parking, or it's $20 for parking, and then a $5 coverage fee for like wood, food, drinks, all that good stuff. Some of the rules, you got to follow COVID guidelines regardless of your vaccination status. You got to be wearing a mask. Another thing we suggest is bring sweaters and also have fun. That is a required rule. You have to have fun. If not, sad. Anyways, here's our social media. Follow us on Instagram. We have a Facebook. You can watch these videos, of course, on YouTube, and add us on LinkedIn as well. Join the Discord if you haven't joined. Thank you for joining us. Does anyone have any questions? You can ask in chat or feel free to unmute.
Yeah, I have a question.
Go for it.
So you know how there's like a form for the membership, the dual thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was I was wondering what do incoming freshmen put for GPA?
Damn, that's a great question. Sam.
You can put
Yeah.
NA.
Yeah.
You don't have to
NA?
put any. Yeah.
Okay.
4.0. Yeah.
Yeah, if you want that too.
Okay. All right.
I mean,
well,
technically it's that, right?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it is that. Yep.
Yeah, it's not too serious of a
Wait,
an aspect.
I
for me
think you
to
can
fill
do,
out.
4.0 because why not?
Oh, good idea.
I'm just saying, don't do that. I don't know.
I'm just kidding.
No, yeah, when I was applying for stuff as a freshman as well, and I asked the same question. I was like, technically grades aren't out, but my professor suggested just putting a 4.0 because in that time span, like even if you don't have like a 4.0 just yet, you still have that time to make it a 4.0, you know?
Yeah.
Like Sabi mentioned, it doesn't, yeah, it's not too big of an issue.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so if there's no other questions, please please welcome Jose, who's gonna be talking about ¿Qué haces con tu tiempo? You can take over, Jose.
Hi everyone, buenas tardes. I'm gonna share screen. Hi everyone, my name is Jose Gutierrez. I was invited by Jess to join you guys today to talk about time management. I'm a landscape designer and let me start by giving a quick agenda. So I've been working now for about 10 years since graduating from undergraduate school. And today really I want to just sort of provide some strategies for time management that one, I wish I would have known when I was an undergrad, and two, that you learn as you join the job force and as you're working. So I'm hoping I'll provide some strategies that'll be effective for both students that are not in their final year of undergrad yet, but also students that are about to leave school and start working. So although it will be primarily about time management, the presentation, I'm going to talk about different other opportunities that I feel everyone should explore in undergrad, but that are also in some way related to time management. And so I'll start by talking about discipline and keeping track of your time, prioritizing tasks. Can you guys see the full slide? Okay. So after talking about discipline and keeping on track, I'll discuss incremental progress and why it's important to make it. Staying focused, taking advantage of different opportunities in undergrad, creating a matrix of opportunities, which is really an Excel sheet of different opportunities that you should be exploring in undergraduate programs. I'll discuss not reinventing the wheel and making sure that you keep records and track of everything that you do in undergrad, because it's going to help you out as you explore other opportunities, just using the same templates over and over again. I'll talk about portfolios, and I'll just finish up with any questions you guys might have. So just to provide a bit of introduction, and so that I don't come off as just some rando that just picked up from the street. So I am a landscape designer and a community organizer. I've been friends with Jess for a long time, and she's seen me in these different roles in the past few years. But really the focus of my work has been around the creation of parks and open space planning across LA County for about the past 10 years. And it's, like I said, in two roles, one in community organizing, working with residents across LA County to create new parks, community gardens, bike paths, trails. And then also recently I started my career as a landscape designer. And so I have a Master of Landscape Architecture degree from Cal Poly Pomona that I just recently completed the program. And in 2014, I completed my Bachelor of Arts in History at Whittier College. So apart from just providing a bit of introduction to the work that I do, I bring these projects up and these different places that I worked in because it's really, it really has been in the places that I work that I've learned how to manage my time. because of the amount of projects that I take on and the amount of attention that each of these projects really need. And so, like I said earlier, I've been working as a park and community garden planner, designer, and organizer for the past, for about 8 years. First with 3 different organizations, all 3 nonprofits from Lot to Spot, Los Angeles Neighborhood Land Trust, and the LA Community Garden Council. All 3 of them focus on creating parks and open spaces and are primarily in LA County. And here's a picture of some of the on-site work that we do in working with residents to design parks and open spaces. This was at one of our LA Neighborhood Land Trust projects. And then the other aspect of the work that I did as an organizer was really, influencing park funding policy in LA County and organizing residents so that we can, go to City Hall, go to LA County, and have them speak about why parks are important for communities of color. And then and after speaking, being able to influence policy so that funding is made accessible for parks and primarily low-income park poor communities of color. And so I did that type of work for about 4 years. And then, as I said earlier, I started my work as a landscape designer. I did this, I started, of course, as a graduate student at Cal Poly Pomona. The images here are from my graduate project, where I was doing an urban forestry project for the neighborhood of Wilmington here in LA. And just creating an urban tree canopy across the neighborhood and creating a plan and different sections of what that could look like for Wilmington. My work is also through that I've done as a designer is through my Switzer Environmental Fellowship, where I've been able to explore different strategies for creating open spaces in neighborhoods that don't have access to parks and open space. And then I've also done independent consultant work in creating small community gardens for schools in LA County. And then recently, as I was wrapping up my graduate program, is when I jumped into more specific landscape design and project management work, working at a landscaping company, installing new open spaces and new small parks and schoolyards. And then right now I'm at a small landscape design firm called Dig Landscape, where we do a lot of work still with parks and open space, only this time more along the design side than actual community organizing. And so, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of my time management strategies I learned on the job, and in the past, 8-9 years that I've been, working at these organizations. And so, to start with some of the strategies that really keep me on task and organized. The first is just keeping track of your time through the calendars that you have. And so my strategy is usually to keep 2 calendars. I have my digital calendar that I use through Gmail or through Outlook. And the great thing about your digital calendar is that you get to really assign on the dot how much time you're going to be spending on a specific thing, and it's going to tell you. It's going to give you a notice, right, that it's almost time to jump into this next task. And it's just, and it's always going to be handy because it's always on your phone. So that's one of the first strategies that I follow. The other strategy that I've, kept, even though things are moving towards everything being digital, I always keep a, I keep a calendar that I can write on in person. They say that, writing actually helps you retain more information in your head. And so it's good to write down the tasks that you need to do for the week or for the coming weeks as well. Just to show you guys some, let's see, just to show you guys, take for example, can you guys see, I wonder if I can make the screen larger. Okay, can you guys see my calendar? Okay, is it showing up large or is it just showing the thing? Okay, good. So in my calendar, I tend to start by writing down maybe like 3 main goals that I have for the week. And I write it down at the very top of my week. Things that I know are like really important to get done this week. And then I start compartmentalizing, knowing that I have different types of projects that I need to take into account this week. I break it down by project, and I write down a checklist basically of every little task that I need to do for that project for this week, highlighting the tasks that I know are more important than others, but just making sure that you stick to your checklist. And it's worked for me over the past few years. And then there's another section right here, maybe you can see it well, where I've written pending. It's good to keep on your weekly calendar just a list of things that you know are coming up next week that you should keep in the back of your mind, but aren't really that urgent right now. And do the same thing with the checklist, just setting it up, and if you get the chance this week to complete something from next week, that's fantastic, but it's you've checked it off, and you can keep track that you've checked it off. And so that's really helped me out over the years, keeping your digital and your hard copy. The other thing that really helps out is sometimes the notebook is really important to me. Like if it's a crappy notebook, I'm less likely to write on it and take it seriously. But if it's like a nice notebook, like I always buy these moleskin planners and journals, and I know they're expensive, I know, but probably get a scholarship for that. But it's handy, and you treat it nicer, I think. I definitely do, and I stay on task as much as I can. Let's see. So other strategies, sorry. It's so here's the same thing that I was mentioning earlier. In your hard copy calendar, just write down weekly deadlines, start a to-do list so you can check off. Write down your weekly goals, make sure that they're realistic. And it's up to you to determine if they're realistic or not, but make sure that you try to keep 2 or 3 goals on your calendar, because you want them to be something that you can accomplish that week. And also, make sure that it's good to mix like your academic and personal goals on your planner, so that you're keeping track of your own things that you do on the side, and also the things you have to get done for work. And then keep a priority and pending list, like I mentioned earlier. And just always, this is another thing, always carry a notebook with you. You're going to get taught this when you start working, but it's good, not just your planner, but also just keep a notebook with you, so that whenever you're going to be meeting with your manager, meeting with your advisor in school, you're keeping track of everything that's being discussed in that conversation, and keeping track of those discussions is going to help you manage your time as well, because if less time, you got to go back and clarify and get more information, or get information that you might have missed in the first time. Just have a habit of carrying a notebook with you everywhere. It's also good to make incremental progress on your projects. You have to keep track of what your deadlines are. And then try to break your projects up into pieces. So before starting a project, try to ask yourself, like, by 2 weeks from now, where do I want to be in this project? By 3 weeks, by 4 weeks, and just, really try to stick as much as you can to this sort of habit of breaking your project up into pieces and seeing how it can be broken up into pieces. That way you're not just overwhelmed by this very large project that you need to complete by the end of the semester. Create soft deadlines for yourself. Like I said earlier, by this time, I want to be done with this part of the project. And then your hard deadline, of course, is when you need to absolutely turn in something for review or for your final project. Never be afraid of asking for help from your professors and from your employer. It's always good to get clarity on a project. And you hear it a lot, but there's like no stupid answers. There's no stupid questions, sorry. You might get stupid answers, but ask questions, it's really important. And then I think in terms of being a student, I think you should set time to check in with your professors regularly. I used to spend a lot of time in my professor's office, sometimes just sort of, clowning around and just learning from them and talking about things that are happening in the week or whatever. But in those moments, you might also get a bit more clarity on whatever project they got you working on. So it's good to just spend time there. And then if you have trouble, setting up, like I said, your calendar of soft and hard deadlines, ask your professor about them. Can you help me create a calendar for myself of what my schedule could look like? Where should I be in your project in the next 2 weeks? Where should I be in the next 4 weeks? And they'll tell you where you should be. In terms of focusing, I think it's important to know which are your most productive hours. And I think we all have them, right? For me, like I feel like from 9 to 2 is when I'm super productive, both at work and if I'm just sort of doing personal work at my house or at a coffee or something. If I'm doing something by 9 to 2, it's gonna get done. And then afterwards, it's just doesn't work for me anymore. I start, paying attention to other things, and I just can't focus anymore. But keep in mind, what are your most productive hours during the day, and try to put the most important and urgent things into those hours. Things that are gonna be needing high energy in terms of your brain. Put them in those hours, and then try to take breaks between your class and work hours. So if you're coming out of class, I think one question I would probably ask myself now is like, okay, well, what if I'm in class from 9 to 2, and how am I going to do work afterwards? I think what sort of refuels you between the whole block of class hours that you have and the time in the evening to do work is setting up some breaks right after school, like a 2-3 hour break to just do whatever you need to do to relax, and then hopefully you're a little more refueled to jump back into the work a few hours later and get some homework done. Weekend mornings are really important for me when I'm not doing just sort of family things or personal things. I try to use weekend mornings to both plan for my next week and try to set up all of that sort of system that I have for my planner. And then also just plan for the future. Like, what do you want to be doing in a year or two? Use those moments when you're not feeling so stressed about, oh, I gotta go to class in a few minutes, or I gotta do whatever school related, to just plan for yourself. And it's good to I think work offsite. Get away from your room, get away from your class setting, and take time to work somewhere else. I feel oftentimes really productive at a coffee shop and exploring different coffee shops and sitting down and doing work. I feel like I get a lot of work done most of the time. It's also good to co-work. And also with that, related to the coffee shop, coffee shops can get expensive. So I feel like you should also take advantage of your libraries. Libraries have expanded so much. I think especially in the county system, of the resources that they can provide you, including like meeting spaces for just having a quiet space where you can work. But yeah, if coffee shops are expensive, try your public resources like a library. It's good to co-work as well. Sometimes me and Jess get together to get work done, and just sort of having a good environment with friends really, I feel like it puts me in a good mood, and it puts me in a good mood to do work. I don't know if Jess is getting work done, but I'm getting work done. Yeah, no, it's good working around your friends and your peers sometimes. And then also, I think it's important, and this is sort of the landscape designer in me, that you get out into nature as much as you can as you're in school. Nature provides what we call soft fascination. It's like a complex environment, but it's not complex in the sense that if you jump into nature, your mind's going to be really overwhelmed with it. It provides a different type of complexity, a type that relaxes you because you're surrounded by soft noises and noises that are natural and attuned to the to our system, to our human systems. So take time to get out into nature, and you'll see that you're going to come back a little more focused and ready to do some work. Jumping into opportunities in undergrad. I bring this up just sort of to give you guys some advice on things that I wish I would have known when I was an undergrad. But also because some of these things, most everything on this list requires time management, and it requires you to think about how you're going to get to the point where you're, awarded a grant, awarded a fellowship, or given an internship. It takes planning and it takes time management. And so at undergrad, you should be thinking about internships, volunteer work, and side hustles, conferences and talks that you want to participate in, fellowships that you want to receive, grants, scholarships, and study abroad. Having multiple projects, such as the things that I've outlined here, including your regular schoolwork, it helps you with time management because you're balancing different projects that are important to you and that you're going to make a commitment to stay on task with them. So it's good to keep 2 or 3 projects, and it's a scenario that's close to what you're going to be experiencing once you jump into a job. They're not going to be expecting you to just focus on one thing. You're going to be doing multiple projects at the same time. And it's good to learn from it early on in undergrad how to manage different projects. And so some arrangement that I was thinking of in terms of what projects could look like in undergrad is, of course, your general academic work that you're doing, a grant fellowship or internship work that you're completing while you're in school, and then maybe some sort of writing that you want to get published. So that's like 3 different projects that you're juggling, and that I think, if you're serious about these things, you're keeping on track. You're managing your time with each of them. And hopefully you're doing something that's enjoyable and that really speaks to you, that you want to dedicate time and manage your time around these projects. And it's good to keep what I call a project matrix, which is Jess, did you send out the Excel sheet that I gave you?
No, I'm gonna post it after, but I'm gonna put it on a drive and share it to people.
Okay, let me share my other let me share the Excel sheet so that you guys can see what it looks like. A ver. Okay, can you guys see that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I wish I really would have known this in undergrad. Some kids get taught this. Oftentimes it's the case that, from our backgrounds, we don't get taught this because our parents didn't go to college. But just keeping track of opportunities that you might have in your school year. I think this is especially helpful, I think, for those that are still not about to graduate, of course, right? But I mean, it might help you for those that are also about to graduate. But I kept for grad school, I had a bunch of different ideas of projects that I wanted to take on in graduate school and different funding opportunities that I'd like to explore because graduate school is expensive. So I kept an Excel sheet of a bunch of research that I did on different funding opportunities. I kept track of the name of the scholarship, the program, the amount of funding that they could provide for you, deadlines. I thought a bit about which year I would like to apply for these, like which year does it make sense to apply for this amount of money and for this type of project. It's good to think about what are these different scholarships going to ask of you. most of them are going to ask for some sort of personal statement. Some are going to ask for portfolio samples. Some are going to ask for references. And this type of Excel sheet lets you both keep track of what you're going to be asked for, but also if you're required to give references, you can pick and choose who would be a good reference for what project and what scholarship, and keep it on your list so that you can ask them ahead of time. Hey, can you write a reference for me? And then thinking about what you can use it for. So in my mind, I was thinking, of course, about paying for tuition, but also maybe applying the funding for a special project that I wanted to do, like a construction project or a research project. Keeping track of what you can apply your funding for, and then of course the link to where you can get the information for the scholarship. And you can do this for more than just scholarships. You can do this for conferences. So think about, I guess, for example, in landscape architecture, we have an umbrella organization that both students and professionals can apply for membership called the American Society of Landscape Architects, and they have an annual conference and different speaker opportunities across the year that we can attend and participate in. So it's good to keep a list of the different opportunities that ASLA could offer to us, but it's, I think, good to keep in mind for your own organization, your own umbrella organization, the conferences they're going to be hosted by them, and speaking opportunities, but also adjacent professions. So engineers, for example, if I was an engineer, I wouldn't just be looking for conferences and speaking opportunities at engineer conferences. I'd also be looking at architecture conferences, landscape architecture conferences, electrical engineering, all sorts of different, adjacent professions that are going to be really educational and probably help you out in expanding, what you can do with your career. And do the same for internships. Think ahead about what type of internship you'd like to apply for and the different requirements that you need to fulfill to apply and get accepted for the internship. Can you guys see the PowerPoint again? Okay.
Yes.
Great. So in terms of internships and volunteer work and side hustles, aim to do at least one internship during your undergraduate career. And this is really, really important. And like I said, I wish I would have known this in undergrad or been given a little more guidance in internships and finding internships because it gets really hard to get an internship after undergraduate school. They're looking primarily for students. And so you should aim to do at least one internship while you're in undergrad. If you're having trouble finding one, spend time at your career center, be a regular, make sure that they know you by name, make sure that they know what you're looking for in terms of career opportunities. And then also look for unconventional internships. I would imagine that most of you, being in computer science and, as I heard earlier, electrical engineering and all of that, you're looking at Boeing, Raytheon, I guess your usual suspects, right? We'll try to put some thought into, what are other spaces that could use my services and my talent that are outside of what I'm conventionally looking for in my profession. Like I said earlier, engineering is really adjacent to architecture, urban planning, landscape architecture. You could probably find an internship in those spaces as well. If for computer science people and for just engineering as well, look into nonprofit organizations which are always looking for help and support in things that you could probably provide a service for. Some offer funding opportunities for like an internship. A lot of them don't because they're nonprofits and don't have a lot of funding. But even so, I would say reach out if you find a nonprofit that you're really interested in, and get a sense of where your talents could fit in this nonprofit. And more than likely, they need support. Think about how much hours you want to dedicate to them, but maybe use the space as a stepping stone, right? If you haven't been able to find an internship, offer your volunteer service to a nonprofit for provide your talents, and then you can put that on your resume or your portfolio that this is the type of work that I was doing for this nonprofit, and you're likely to get hired at an internship or a job that you're applying for later on. And then before you graduate, I think this will definitely save you a lot of time in work, but it's good to just know this before you graduate. Learn the office basics, that you're going to need certain skills in an office setting that you should definitely know before you graduate, and try to find a space where you can learn this. That's why it's good to have an internship before, because you'll probably learn how to do some of these skills, which include keeping a calendar and managing times, scheduling meetings with different departments, printing and using a copier, communicating in between your office, and learning how to properly put together an email, both internal emails and external emails as you're going out to clients or whoever else is out of your organization. Understanding hierarchies and understanding different types of workspaces, and figuring out what's the right setting for you. Some workspaces, of course, are very compartmentalized and siloed, and they're departments, but some have like an open setting where like everybody's cooperating. And it's good to think ahead about what's the right work setting for you. Working in a team environment is important, to know the basics ahead of time, and then also practice your public speaking and giving presentations. I feel like everyone's going to be asked to do this as you jump into a job. In terms of conferences and talks, think about what are interesting conferences that you want to attend before you graduate, for speakers, for learning opportunities, professional development opportunities, and take advantage of the fact that you're going to get a student discount for that, because conferences later on get really expensive, and you got to pull it out of your own pocket. And when you're a student, you can get a student discount, or you can get it if it's a conference that's related to your profession. Your department could probably pay for your participation in these conferences. And it's a good way to travel as well. It's important to travel while you're an undergrad, and a conference could be, getting held in Washington, D.C. or New York, or, somewhere away from CSULB. That it's a good opportunity to get out of the city and explore other spaces as well. Again, think about your umbrella agency and who can provide, conference opportunities for you. These are different spaces that I think are good to look into. Like for engineers, for example, transportation planning conferences, watershed infrastructure conferences, ASLA, American Institute of Architect conferences, computer sciences. I thought about different, there's different groups that are being made specifically for people of different racial and ethnic backgrounds. And so I've been hearing about Black Girls Code, just Black women getting together, teach each other about coding, and train younger Black women how to code and work in a team. There's probably something similar for computer science, for Latinos in computer science. Think about computer science and tech conferences as well that you'd like to participate. And then also try to keep track of who's attending these conferences, and if there's interesting people that you want to talk to. If it's a small enough, I feel field, like in landscape architecture, you can oftentimes reach out to that person and set up a time during the conference to get coffee with them, or just a chance to walk and talk with them and learn about what they're doing, and bring them in as someone that's part of your network. Fellowships and grants are really important. They can offer funding for your tuition, and they can also fund a specific project that you want to take on. So it's good to think while you're an undergrad about who you are and what you want to offer to the profession. Take a Saturday morning to sit down and write down your thoughts about who you are as a computer science person, who you are as an electrical engineer, and what are you going to be offering to your profession, or what would you like to offer eventually to your profession. And doing this exercise, it's good just for for personal growth, but if you're applying for a fellowship and a grant, oftentimes these fellowships and grants want you to elaborate on who you are and why they should give you a fellowship. Why should they fund a specific project? So that exercise helps you put your thoughts together for fellowships and grants. Fellowships are great because you get to meet other professionals that are oftentimes like-minded, and you can learn from them and network with them. And it's good to keep templates. Something that you're going to learn in your job and that you should know in undergrad is never reinvent the wheel. If you have say you have a writing that you did for a specific fellowship, you didn't get the fellowship, but now you're going to apply for something else, you can probably reuse that writing and just tailor it for that new fellowship or grant that you're going to apply for. And that way you don't have to sit down and think again about everything you need to write down for this. And you don't feel like you're wasting time rewriting this whole thing when you already have something that you've worked on in the past that you can just clean up and use for this new project or new fellowship. It saves you a lot of time. For study abroad, plan a year ahead. Long Beach offers study abroad opportunities, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's, sorry, jumped ahead. So study abroad, plan a year ahead. I got a chance to study abroad in undergrad, and the year before I was sitting with the fellowships person at my college, and she told me, okay, there's a grant that could fund your whole trip, but it's good that you're talking to me now and not like a few months or 3, 4, or 5 months before the trip, because oftentimes these fellowships, you got to plan a year ahead for them. And if you get that money, then the next year you're going to be studying somewhere else. And it really helps you for personal growth to get out of the country. Planning a year ahead, it's about securing your funding, thinking about the letters of rec that you're going to need for both the fellowship and for the study abroad opportunity. And then knowing about where you want to travel and why you want to travel. So think about that question about who you are in your profession and why it would make sense for you to go to a specific country as a professional in your profession. And then think about also what you want to accomplish abroad. So sometimes students get internship opportunities abroad. And if you find a good match for you, then at least you're planning a year ahead and you have a good chance of getting this opportunity. And then the last thing that I wanted to talk about is portfolios. So portfolios are more applicable than just in design professions like architecture and art and landscape architecture. You should keep track of different projects, writings, things that you've published, just things that you're proud of and that you feel really confident about that you can use so that you can show employers in the future. And so think about like the writings that you've done so far that you're proud of. Consider getting it published and then eventually putting it into your portfolio. Collaborate on writings with people, put that on your portfolio. Think about designs. If you're going into a design setting, it's good to just think ahead about things that you feel that you've designed and you want to, keep with you so you can show an employer or someone you're going to, work for in the future. So I wanted to show you guys really quickly just my portfolio. So let's see. Ay, qué enredoso esto. Sorry.
That's funny.
So here's my so my portfolio is specifically about designs that I worked on as a landscape designer. This is a draft. It's not like the final thing, but it includes resume. So in your portfolio, it's good to think ahead about what your resume is going to look like and what you want to put down on your resume, and then just have it available as a draft. Your portfolio always so that you can continually update it over the months as you're getting new experiences. But for architecture and landscape architecture, we keep track of different projects that we worked on, designs. And then also, everything is always a work in progress. So, in our designs, we put things as close to final as possible, but maybe a few months later, I'll probably think, oh, I don't like how this is laid out. I'm gonna go back and work on this again. And then, put it into a new final form and put it back into my portfolio. And there might be a similar sort of process for the portfolio that you put together for your profession. But it's good to just keep track of all of the things that you've worked on and things that you're proud of. And, it might come in handy in the future for like an employer. And I think that's it. So here's my information. If you guys want to stay in touch or reach out for some question you might have about the presentation that maybe I could have clarified, something I could have clarified a little better. But yeah, here's my info, and thank you guys for the invitation. Hope this helped out.
Thank you so much. It did help out. Also, I didn't even know about the portfolio. I've heard about it, but like I've never seen one like visually. So thank you for that. So I'm
Yeah.
working today or like tomorrow. Also, it was a good
Yeah.
presentation.
Yeah, again, I hope this helps out. Like I said, it's things that I wish I really would have known in undergrad. That is, I don't know. Some kids know it, but I think yeah, so some of us just don't, and it's just good to hear it from somebody. So I hope it helped out. Is there any questions?
I think someone in the chat, oh, Eric asked, where did you study? You said you studied.
So I did my, yeah, sorry.
Yeah, so I was just asking, where did you study abroad?
Oh, yeah, so in undergrad, I studied abroad in Berlin. I did essentially like an urban planning program. I didn't go into urban planning, but I knew that there was something about working in open space work and something about cities that I wanted to do. And so I took the chance a year ahead before I went, applied for a fellowship, was awarded the fellowship, and then just, spent 4 months in Germany. Yeah.
Okay. And I actually did have another question.
Yeah.
So you said that you plan like a year ahead. How often do you do that within the year, like every few months, or how often?
Like plan a year ahead for?
So I guess just for career development or just like goals in general. How often would you recommend doing that?
Yeah. I think as often as you can, maybe like every 3 months, think about where you're at. In terms of, yes, your professional development, your schooling, and then just personal projects that you'd like to take on in the future, I guess.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jose.
Yeah, no problem. Okay.
I want to say that I'm going to share the template you sent to me with everyone somehow. And I think it's also a great idea for us to like have a template for everyone for the MISE Club, where we can post our internships and like post deadlines and things like that. So we can all like help each other and build, this template for each other, because what's the point of like doing things over and over and over again? Why don't we just share one list, and that would be kind of cool. You can have your own personal one, so I'll send out the template too. But yeah, we should all be here for each other. And so if you guys ever find like good opportunities, and just send them our way or put them in the template once I have that like set up.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you, Jose.
Yeah, no, thank you, Jess. I hope this helped everybody out. And thank you again for the invitation.
Thank you so
Great.
much.
All right, I'm gonna log out. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Bye.